Throughout the moorings there are remnants of the manufacture of millstones. We're looking here at a stone 63 inches in diameter, probably 2 ton in weight, quite a substantial lump of rock. In fact, this was cut out from initial bedrock, and we're now looking at the remnant, the inside curve here. This was not done by an industrialized process. We are looking at a centuries old tradition here. Almost certainly this was produced by an individual with a small holding down in the valley, perhaps a little bit of fishing on the coast, and in between times come up onto this bare hillside and produce this millstone. We have a substantial segment broken off during the final process. So all the hours of work have been totally wasted. So this still remains as a memorial to the person who did produce it.
In the old days, we had to bore the holes with hammer and jumper. They called it jumper. Then we put plugs and feathers in it.
The reed's the easy way of it, and that's the way we would be hammering stones as much as possible on the reed.
In the old days, we put feathers and plugs in it, and we cut it down. But now you can put it through the primary saw. You have a nice base on it and a lot easier polish. There's diamond put on them tips, and then there's water comes in that to keep it cool. It's just the same as cutting ham, the slicer on ham. You can put the stone in there. It wouldn't just be as quick, but you can cut off whatever size you want.
You can actually find evidence in the rock of where millstones have been removed. The actual method of manufacture of those goes back, I think, almost Roman times. They were produced by a technique known as wedge cutting, where a series of slots was cut in the rock and iron or wooden wedges driven in, and be tapped away until gradually the thing would split. The wedge technique seemed to be particularly suitable for cutting the curves of millstones.
We love the Moore and granite. It's a nice stone to work with. It's a lovely stone. There's a glitter of Moore and granite that you don't get of every stone. A lovely glitter that we see. No matter what other granite we seem to work with, it's not as keen as what the Moore and granite is. It seems to be that bit kinder for us, especially when you know the way of it.
Well, they say that good stone men run families. I don't know. They tell me that, but every fellow's his own notion. My grandfather, he was a carver. That was his nickname, the carver. I give him that name because he just carved the letter into the stone. Dressing the stone. The older men called the word as not cutting their stone, they called it dressing the stone. A good stone man has had the patience to work with the granite. You can't just reach for it and hammer and chisel and drive it into it, you have to know which way to cut it.
The moorn is full of boulders, not rock. And we want to reclaim the ground, they'll have to get these boulders out of the ground. So the larger field there probably wasn't many stone. And that built the boundary for them. And when they came across a lot of stone, they built the smaller fields because it was easier to get rid of the stone then, for to make the land to be fertile. There's a saying in the moorn, the walls of ears, the ditches of ears. We call them ditches. Probably come from the word dikes, you know.
In the moorns round here we have ochre. It's a blue stone. We go up onto the Hare's Gap. It's a pink stone. We go to Newcastle. It's called the grey granite stone. We go over onto Castlewellan. We have a blue stone. It's a harder stone. We go over to Binion. It would be a different pickle of a stone. You would know to look at the stones, they're different. How they get different, I don't know, but they are different.
Well, when folk are walking, occasionally will notice the odd little building in the background. The Ordnance Survey actually has these marked as sheepfolds. In fact, they're absolutely nothing to do with sheep. They're the remnants of the granite industry in the moorns. They were smithies. They're the workshop with furnace, bellows, anvil, tools, the lot. The masons not only had to work the granite, they actually had to work their own tools to effectively to cut out the granite. The men who actually worked there were having to walk for perhaps an hour, 2 hours to get to the actual area where they were working on the granite extraction, spend the day there and walk back home again. In fact, it's a really very hard life. We think ourselves as sort of, reasonably fit and tough, walking the mountains, but this is all purely in recreation. They were doing that on a daily basis.